What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Jordy, and welcome back to some more F1 25 driver career mode for the Austrian Grand Prix. And if you missed last episode, it was the best race of our season so far at the Canadian Grand Prix, a P2 with the fastest lap in the race. A little bit of help from the safety car, but honestly our pace was just insane with the fresh engine components and just an overall really good strategy and very low tire wear. With the two safety cars, of course, they did help us, but our pace was just so good we would have probably even finished on the podium regardless. I don't know, but we were honestly good enough to win the race. But of course the man in the lead was Max Verstappen, and since we're part of the Red Bull Junior team, I didn't really pressure him all that much. So now Max Verstappen is 11 points ahead in the championship. Piastri had his third DNF of the season. If it's not his driver ratings causing poor performance, it's the car itself. Very unfortunate there. But in terms of the standings, we are back up into P5, overtaking Leclerc, and I don't know if Tsunoda already overtook us prior, but yeah, really good result for us, very, very surprising, and still P4 in the Constructors' standings because Mercedes are having an absolutely nightmare season. But next up is the Austrian Grand Prix, which is another home race. We've got 3 home races. Technically 4, actually, if you count Monza. So Imola and Monza, since Racing Bulls is situated in Faenza, Italy, I'm pretty sure. And we've got the British Grand Prix, which is my home GP, and then the Austrian Grand Prix, which is in the Red Bull Ring. So since we're part of the Red Bull Junior team, it does count as a home race. The funny thing about this, though, is this is going to be our one and only Red Bull Ring GP in the entire series, because Austria is one of the tracks that got a reverse track in this year's games. So in all future seasons, we're going to be using the reverse tracks. Unless the reverse tracks are really bad in terms of like races, then of course we'll probably switch it back. But Austria was always one of those I removed anyway. It's a very straightforward track. It's kind of like Monza, where I understand why people like it, but in the game it's a bit boring to play as opposed to other races that I could put into a 16 race calendar. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to it, and I'm definitely looking forward to the reverse tracks next season. But as for right now, we've got 2 upgrades coming in, the rear wing upper flap and the front nose cone structure. I wanted to make sure that we had upgrades going into the Austrian Grand Prix, because again, it's a very important GP, and we're already really good if Canada was anything to go by. So Austria could be another really strong race for us. So yeah, they're both aerodynamic parts, so very, very important, especially since we're in the bottom 3 in terms of how good that is. In terms of the chassis, we have that coming in soon, so I don't know if this is in 24 days. This one doesn't come until after Silverstone, which is another track that I can't wait to do the reverse one of. The reverse one I think I prefer over the actual one, but we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, another chassis upgrade coming in, another area where we're bottom 3. And then in terms of the powertrain, we are the most powerful on the grid, which is the same as last year where we went into the Canadian Grand Prix with the most powerful engine. I'm not going to focus on any powertrain upgrades. If Hajar wants to do that, he can. I'm not fussed about it because we need to really catch up in the aero and the chassis. So Hajar, I'm going to hope that he does powertrain and durability. We have some new durability upgrades coming out, but I'm quite alright for durability. In fact, I kind of like running out of parts, where it provides a little bit more of a challenge, and especially when we're going to be taking engine penalties later on this season. I'm quite curious to see what scenarios we'll end up in. So I don't really want to touch the durability. I'm kind of just leaving that as is. But yeah, that's pretty much all we got to say. So let's see if those new upgrades are going to come in. We got the magnetic compound coming in as well, which is a powertrain upgrade. Okay, and unfortunately, one of them does fail.
To come through, but I'm afraid to say that some of them have failed quality control. We're going to need to tell the team what to redevelop via the R&D screen.
So that is unfortunately the chassis part, and I also don't have the R&D points for it. So we're going to have to gain some in the practice sessions. That's not going to come now until after the British GP. So That's a shame. We're only getting one upgrade in. I guess the powertrain upgrade is there as well. So that puts us even more powerful. And to be fair, around Austria, that's really what matters the most. So, yeah, without further ado, let's go to the Red Bull Ring and we'll check out the progress tab just to see if there's any other teams that have brought in upgrades here. But yeah, I'm feeling quite confident, especially given our performance in Canada. Again, that's mostly full throttle, just like Austria. So really, this should be a strong track for us. And who knows what could happen if Canada was anything to go by. Unfortunately, though, it looks like we're going to be racing somewhat in the rain in the race, which is a shame, a crying shame. I was actually really looking forward to just full pelt going around. And surprisingly, this isn't a sprint weekend. I thought it was. Was that only F123? Was it only a sprint race in F123? Because it definitely wasn't last season, and apparently it isn't this season neither. So that's fine by me. I was completely prepared to do a lot more editing because of that, but I guess not this time. So let's go to the progress tab, and yeah, big upgrades for us. I've actually put us level pegging with Ferrari and Mercedes. So we're actually like up there now. So who knows what could happen in terms of our performance, but we could definitely compete with the Ferraris now, which is a big deal. Aston Martin not too far behind us. Williams bringing in upgrades as well as Kick Sauber. Haas and Alpine not bringing anything in. McLaren and Red Bull bringing in some minor upgrades. So we're the team that's brought in the biggest upgrade going into this GP. But other than that, yeah. I'm quite curious to see what's going to happen with our pace against the Ferraris. Of course, in the rain, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. We'll see what happens. I don't really want to turn the difficulty down, mainly because, you know, of how the AI are in the rain. They're a bit too quick in terms of like consistent difficulty. But it was fine in the last race we did, where it transitioned into rain. I forgot what track that was, to be quite honest with you, but I'm sure we did fine. I'll put it up on screen, but I know we did fine in the last race that did have some rain in it, so I'm not too scared. Again, we'll see, but without further ado, let's head into qualifying in the Austrian Grand Prix.
High up in the mountains here at Spielberg, it's time for qualifying on what will be the fastest laps of the season. Stand by for qualifying at the Austrian Grand Prix.
Well, here we are at what is the fastest circuit on the calendar, I'm pretty sure. The fastest lap times of the season all come at this very circuit. And if Canada was anything to go by, our powertrain is definitely going to be a big deal around here. We could be looking for another really big result, maybe even a win. Like you saw in Canada, we had what it takes to win that race, and it was only because it was Verstappen leading that we didn't really try. But if we can get ahead of Verstappen, if we're quicker than him in qualifying, or strategy dictates it or anything, we could be on for a legitimate win with no issues. So I'm really confident going into this, and you know, throughout practice and qualifying I felt really confident as well. Even though the race looks like it's going to be in the rain, I did FP3 in the rain as we set some really good laps, and P1 at the end of Q1. It is only Q1, most of the top teams only do one lap, but that's still very good pace, 8 thousandths ahead of Leclerc. Our teammate actually makes it through to Q2 as Albon in the Williams is eliminated, and the rest of the people he's out with are not really surprising. But yeah, there's always one Williams that gets knocked out in Q1. It's very strange. It is literally happening every race now. As we come around the final corner, huge gains on our original Q2 lap. You guys know I usually do that on a scrub set. This one was on a fresh set, and we've got a P4, so another high position. So we are looking absolutely rapid round here. Even Hadjar gets a decent position of a P13. Antonelli outqualifies Russell. But yeah, we're looking quicker than Verstappen, judging from this qualifying so far. So as we go on to the final lap of qualifying, accompanied by people like Sonoda, Antonelli, Ocon, who are usually eliminated in Q2, I'm pretty sure. Sonoda, I don't know actually. Sonoda has a good race here and there. But yeah, we are looking absolutely rapid round here. Powertrain is a big deal for this particular track. There's not nearly as many corners. However, I think it's a little bit... Is it more difficult than Canada? I don't know. I think Sector 3 alone for Austria is a big change compared to Canada. So I do want to say sorry for any Austrian Grand Prix likers out there who got offended earlier if I, said Monza, it was like Monza. No, this is much better than Monza still. Sector 3 alone provides more technicality. I like my technical tracks. I don't like just straightforward high-speed tracks that are relatively pretty easy, even if they do work in my favour. Max Verstappen does set the fastest lap, and it looks as though he saved his best lap for last, as we can only get a P5. I say only a P5. That is still a very, very good position, and again, I felt really comfortable in the rain in FP3, so who knows how the race will go. But Max Verstappen's on pole, followed by Lando Norris, no changes there. Leclerc sets a really good lap, P3. Oscar Piastri just ahead of us, so that's our championship rival currently. And just behind us is Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin, so Aston Martin finally getting some gains. We'll see how that goes in the race. Antonelli, P8, Ocon, P9. Hamilton will be very disappointed in that lap, but either way, it's time to go to the grid.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. And alongside me today, former Formula One driver and former world champion too. See, told you I'll give you a big intro. Anthony Davidson, hello. So much to talk about on what is such a short lap. It's the fastest lap times of the season, but that doesn't mean it's not a challenge.
It's a real challenge to get right this circuit. Lots of tight corners linked up with very long straights. You've got 3 DRS zones as well. That means that the racing is often very close, and you can hang on to potentially a faster car if you can stay within that 1 second buffer. But you've then got some higher speed corners like turn 6 and 7 in the middle of the track, and then the 2 final corners as well. Track limits. Yep, there we go. I mentioned it. Be careful.
Well, this is a bit weird, isn't it? It's not raining and we are all on dries. In fact, we're all so confident, all the teams are so confident, they've decided to put every single one of us, at least in the top 7, on hards. So it's not raining at all, even though the forecast did say that it was going to be raining at least intermediate conditions throughout most of the race. It wasn't going to get dry until the very end, but that doesn't seem to be the case right now. But funnily enough, as we do this formation lap, it actually starts raining during it. So maybe going on the soft tyres would have been a much better idea. But I had no idea what was going on when I went onto the strategy screen. When we were looking at the track before, as Crofty was doing his commentary, it just looked bone dry. It definitely looks doom and gloom with the clouds and the overall colour palette of the weather, but the track's dry, guys. I've got no idea what's going on. It's raining, but sometimes it looks like it's not raining, so it's literally spitting at most. It's not making any difference to the track whatsoever. So this is going to be very, very interesting, that's for sure, as we now wait for the 5 red lights. And we are underway as Max Verstappen gets a good launch. He tries to cut off Lando Norris. In fact, it's not as good as a launch as I thought, as it's now 3 wide. He looks to get swallowed up by both Norris and Leclerc. We managed to get past Piastri, so we're up into P4, and we have the pace to go further as Norris and Verstappen side by side here, and Charles Leclerc has taken the lead. So a really good start for the Monegasque right there as Norris dives on the inside, trying to get a lead on Leclerc. But that jeopardizes his exit as Verstappen is now right behind Norris. But we are right behind the two of them. And we are going to dive down the inside of the two championship rivals here. And go side by side with Lando Norris, trying to get a double overtake move done. And we reach the racing line first. We have the apex. And it is P2 for us. That is an amazing start for us on these hards in these very, very weird conditions. We've had races like this before. I remember occasions in F1 23 where, I think it was F1 23, where it was like spitting for the vast majority of the race, but we were on mediums. I don't know what race that was, but if anybody watched the F1 23 series, you might remember. I definitely remember an occasion going on at some point, so it's not like this is completely new, but yeah, DRS has been enabled, as you could tell, as we look to chase down Leclerc for the lead of the race. So, yeah, we are definitely very quick round here. Obviously, when it comes to the corners, we're not going to be as good, so Sector 3 might be a bit of an issue, but for the vast majority of the rest of the track, we are the quickest. We have the best powertrain, so, yeah, it's all fair game for us to go for the win, especially since we're in front of Verstappen. So, that's awesome. As we now go on to lap 4, the rain is looking a little bit thicker every time we go on to a new lap, as we now look to get this position done, this overtake done, hopefully on Leclerc. We do have a lot of overspeed with this DRS and the ERS going round the outside, dancing the car around. That is as clean as you like, and we are now into P1. For the first time in our F1 career, we are in the lead of a Formula 1 race. This is awesome. But as you can see, it's definitely raining thicker now. This is actually a nice little onboard to actually see the rain hitting the car, hitting the ground. So it's a big deal now as we move on to lap 5, still in the lead quite comfortably, might I add. And I'm saving ERS whenever I can, so we've always got a nice amount here. Little incident happening behind. I don't know what that's going to lead to, but the rain is definitely very thick. Safety car, red flag. So originally that was going to be a safety car, but now it's a red flag. So there must have been a huge blockage down near the back markers perhaps, or earlier on in the field. As we now look, it's P6 actually. Yuki Tsunoda in the Red Bull. Oh, that's a huge spin. Yeah, definitely a lot less grip, and that is a huge blockage. Oh my god, and impact there. I think that's George Russell going into the back of Lewis Hamilton right there. Big crash. And as we now go on to our restart, we are now on to the intermediates. So here we are, up to 5 red lights from the lead of the race. And we are underway once again, and it's not the best start from us. Charles Leclerc gets a rocket ship start, but the good thing about Turn 1 Austria is it's very easy to defend, that's for sure, especially if you're on the outside, or even if you're on the inside. But yeah, Leclerc not aggressive enough going for that Turn 1 overtake, and despite his good start, we were able to get it. But we're going to have to go defensive into this next corner here and defend it once more. A little bit naughty there, bit of contact, pushing him out wide. He's going to be complaining about that on the radio, but we have to be a bit aggressive going into these corners, that's for sure, because yeah, we're definitely a lot weaker. Our midfield car really showing against these top guys, but when it comes to getting the power down, we definitely had that advantage, and Leclerc eventually falls away behind both Norris and Verstappen. Norris now battling us, and we're going to be even more aggressive with Lando because, yeah, he's Max's title rival, and since we are a Red Bull driver, we definitely don't want to make it easy for him at all. We want to help Verstappen as much as possible, but Max is busy fighting Charles Leclerc, so if that keeps happening and a massive gap starts to form, the race is just going to be between me and Lando at some point. And in terms of race strategy, we're going to have to pit onto another set of inters at some point. So maybe we could pit a bit earlier and try and get a gap ahead of Norris even more. But we'll see. We're going to be under a lot of pressure from what is basically the best car on the grid. So yeah, that's definitely something we've got to watch out for as we now look to finish up lap 9, going on to lap 10. I'm going to try and you know, make our car as wide as possible, get back on the racing line. Bit of contact behind, actually. Norris ramming into the back of us there. Maybe we went back onto the racing line a bit too late, but he completely outbrakes himself. But maybe that's a blessing in disguise. With this little broken wing that he's got now, he's going to get a little extra speed, and we're going to have to defend once more. And yeah, now it's going to be side by side. And yeah, again, extra speed with less downforce right there. The cornering for Sector 3 is going to be awful, though. So Lando's definitely going to want to get this move done as we dive down the inside to make sure we keep the position. But it doesn't matter anyway, or maybe it does. Right in line with another red flag, and we are still P1. So Lando's going to get a free repair on that wing. That's good. But let's have a look how that happened here. It's another Red Bull. This time it's our teammate, Isaac Hadjar. Yeah, spinning out pretty much the same way as Sonoda, and that is a huge blockage. Whether or not that should cause a red flag, I don't know. Maybe that I think that's more safety car material, as Hadjar was able to get back onto the road, albeit lower down the grid. But yeah, red flag regardless. Maybe they don't want to, maybe the FIA doesn't want to take the risk with the rainy conditions. And as we now get back onto green flag conditions, about to get underway, it is now back onto the slicks. This time we are on the medium, so we're going to be continuing our normal strategy from before as we get a much better start this time round. Lando's never been good at race starts in the game or in real life, and yeah, P1 for us. So we're back onto the normal strategy, which was going to be, by the way, hards to mediums to mediums. I didn't show it on the strategy screen because I thought it was a bit more important to talk about the formation lap shenanigans that the weather was doing. But yeah, now we're back onto the normal strategy, going on to the mediums, and we'll be going on to another set of mediums later on. But we're in the lead now. Piastri and Verstappen are on the hards, Leclerc's on the softs. So big differences in terms of each team right here, but it is Lando that we're going to be contending with. I've turned my ERS off towards the end of the straights, as I usually like to do. That saves us a lot of ERS, and once again, going defensive. It's really easy to defend around Austria, like I said. So if we're going to win anywhere, if we're going to win in any situation, it's going to be this one. So yeah, I'm really confident about it. And the more we can fight Norris, actually, the more that backs him up into Piastri and Verstappen. And maybe they all can start fighting and we can run away with it. As Lando, once again, looks to make the move into turn 1. Somehow that fails the objective. It didn't look like he overtook me. Just like Leclerc in Bahrain, really, as we are now side by side with Lando. A bit of contact there as we're going to dive down the inside just to make sure we keep the move. That's as fair as you like. And as clean as you like. I think Lando was a bit passive going into that corner there. It didn't feel like he fought that at all. But now, moving on to lap 18, once again, Lando looking to make the move. And this time he backs off a little bit. He doesn't try to make the move into turn 1. And that allows him a much better exit coming out of it. As we are now, once again, side by side. And once again, we still have the room to take the inside, get to the apex first. And once again, that is us back into P1. So there's a lot of fighting there, but it's nothing we can't really handle, as now Lando Norris once again tries it again. This time we have to take a little bit of evasive action, which I wasn't a fan of, so I pushed him out just a little bit. And this allows Max Verstappen to get the move done on Lando. We're actually going to give him slipstream there just to make sure that move gets done. And Verstappen is on the hards, so that's going to be a lot better for him. Side by side there. We're still going to defend and fight against Verstappen, but nowhere near as aggressive as Lando. So if Max gets that move done, it's all fair game. Especially since he's going to be on better tyres at this point. Again, I'm not going to mind too much if Max overtakes us, but anyone else other than a Red Bull, yeah, I don't even want to try it. As we now go on to lap 22. This is actually going to be our pit lap. The original pit lap was lap 23. But I decided to pit a bit earlier because I want to get out of this situation. I'm under constant pressure from the cars behind me, so I want to see if we can pit a little bit earlier and perhaps get away from these guys. So I've let Verstappen go just in case our strategy doesn't work. Verstappen will have a bit of a lead there, about a second, so that's really good as we are now coming into the pits. That's a really cool angle for the pits right there. But looking down the rest of the grid, Yuki Tsunoda didn't really get penalised for that red flag, did he? For that spin. Even though he caused the blockage, he was able to keep that P6. But yeah, it looks to be a good pit stop here as we're back on the mediums, but we're being held up by the Williams of Alex, was it Alex Albon or was it Sainz? I think it was Sainz. Either way, we got held up, and that has cost us a second, which is going to be big in the grand scheme of things. That completely thwarts our plans and actually puts us right into the crosshairs of Charles Leclerc, who has come out of nowhere, and we were nowhere near him on the grid. So that's how much time we have lost. But we're on fresher tyres, that's for sure. So we're able to keep that move quite easily, but that is alarming. That is not a good sign, and I'm pretty worried about where we're going to end up out when everybody else comes out of the pits. But yeah, that means our objective at this point is just to set the quickest laps we possibly can, and maybe even use a little bit more ERS than we originally were going to, as we now look to try and catch up to Bortoletto. If we could catch up to Bortoletto and get some DRS, that is certainly going to help us. But yeah, Williams, very, very suspicious there, stopping us a little bit. I mean, they've got nothing to lose against us anyway. I suppose they're not going to catch up to us in the Constructors anytime soon. But yeah, that was just really unlucky for us to have the Williams block us in the pit lane there, as we now look to make a pretty easy pass on the kick salver of Bortoletto, who hasn't pit since the race restart. So Leclerc will be overtaking him very soon, as we are now coming onto lap 25, setting the fastest lap. And Verstappen just coming out of the pits now. We're just about ahead of him, but yeah, only just by about 7 to 8 tenths, which would have been about nearly 2 seconds if we didn't get blocked in that pit lane. So honestly, our ability to win the race may have been dictated by that. I don't know. It might not matter anyway, because Verstappen is on 2 lap fresher mediums, and as much as I am wanting to keep the position, Verstappen has a lot more grip and pretty much the same powertrain. It's not that much slower than ours, to be honest, and they do have the Honda engine as well. So if anybody's going to be contending with us, it's going to be the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. So he makes the pass there, but we have the ability to come back at him side by side here, going around here. This is as clean as you like. It is an awesome move, side by side once again coming down the hill, but it's Verstappen who has the DRS, and I think that's his experience coming into play there. Great race awareness by him there to make sure that he gets DRS into that next corner. I didn't even notice that he had that he was going to get DRS. I thought we were going to get that move done, but that's pretty much game, set, and match from there. 2 lap fresher mediums. You can already see a gap starting to form in Sector 3 right there, with the amount of tyre wear that we have versus Verstappen. And moving on to lap 32 now. He's now 7 seconds ahead as we are getting chased down by the McLarens. Going back onto the racing line, I get bumped, and that's a McLaren part. That's Lando Norris again. What is going on with his braking form here? I'm not doing this on purpose. I was actually so flabbergasted that I went back onto the replay just to make sure he didn't get damaged or anything, but he definitely did. I have no idea what happened here, and I don't know, man. I am coming back onto the racing line in a bit of a weird way, but really? Like, that's how he's getting affected, and he's pitting. 4 laps left to go, he would have been fine. I think maybe Hamilton would have caught up to him, but I think he still would have got a decent haul of points. But now he's pretty much confirmed he's not getting any points. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That really works in Red Bull's favour, but Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the race from there. We're going to come under pressure from Oscar Piastri, but I can tell you who's not under any pressure. Max Verstappen, 14 to 15 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. A great strategy going on to that set of mediums 2 laps after us. Not that it mattered anyway. I think he would have overtook us regardless, as we are now pretty much on the ropes on this last lap. You can really see how worn the tyres are, not just on the MFD, but the physical tyres themselves, which is a really cool feature for this year's game. I actually really love the tyre wear, but we are really struggling to make it past through these corners, and we even get a puncture going around the final corner. That tyre was nowhere near as worn. Well, it wasn't as worn as the right tyre, but either way, that is a strong P2 position that we just about got. If there was one more lap in this race, that would have been pretty dicey. But either way, let's not worry about what ifs. We got another P2.
It's another victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
And 3 wins in a row now, of course, Croft. You've thrown the gauntlet down. The drivers are out there now. They realise that they are the target. They're the ones to beat. They've got the energy, they've got the momentum on their side.
It's time for our podium celebrations. And as ever in Formula One, 3 is the magic number. One of the all-time greats celebrates yet again. It's another podium, it's another top step for Max Verstappen.
And it's another P2 for us, which is massive. I knew we were going to be pretty strong going into Canada and Austria by extension. These are tracks that really, really bode well for anybody with a good powertrain. And I don't know what it was, because we did the same in F1 24 accidentally without noticing. But you know, it seems as though the other teams don't really do any powertrain upgrades in the first half of the season. So when we do it, it's very easy for us to get in front of the rest of the field in that regard. So, yeah, that really helps us get a strong position. A bit unlucky not to get the win. Maybe we would have stood a much better chance of getting it if we didn't get blocked in the pit lane, or if the rest of the race carried on the inters. But, yeah, that was absolutely amazing. I don't show it, but we actually move up to P4 in the driver's standings with that P2. As you could tell here, actually, you could probably guess it. We have overtaken Oscar Piastri by 1 point after the last 2 results. Piastri did pretty well in this race, but he didn't do very well in Canada, so that's where that comes from. But yeah, big stat gains for us as well. That was just a phenomenal race for us. So guys, cheers for watching. Next episode will be our home Grand Prix at Silverstone, another race that we'll be doing for the final time because the reverse variant is in the game. If you're looking forward to that, be sure to hit that like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time for some more F1 25 Driver Career Mode. Peace!